B&H has officially marked every HomePod mini as discontinued, which usually does suggest a new model is coming soon. But interestingly, the same stock issues don't apply to the Apple TV, at least not with third-party retailers. You can still grab one pretty easily, which might make some people think there's no update coming, even though there's been rumors that it would be refreshed alongside the HomePod mini. But before you panic, Mark Gurman has reported that stock levels inside Apple stores have been tightening. And Gurman adds another layer. Apple retail employees have been told to prepare for an overnight refresh on November 11, which, yes, is today. That kind of late night setup usually means one thing: new products. Store workers will be rearranging displays and product placements after hours, all ready for something new to quietly appear on shelves the next morning. What's funny though is that Apple also announced the $230 iPhone Pocket today, so imagine if that's the big new product Apple's prepping their stores for. That would be next level trolling, even by Apple standards. Jokes aside though, Gurman says this overnight refresh could cover both the HomePod mini and Apple TV. So while nothing is confirmed, and don't come at me if we don't get anything because I'm just the messenger reporting the news, let's keep our fingers and toes crossed that Santa Tim surprises us with new products probably tomorrow if they're doing an overnight refresh. Now this new Apple TV isn't just a quiet spec refresh, and to talk more about that I'm going to pass it over to Saran from the past, who might look a little different, but don't worry, the transition's going to be seamless. Cue past Saran. Apple's entertainment box has always been one of those quietly brilliant products. It doesn't get the hype of a flashy iPhone reveal or shiny new MacBook, but it's something many people rely on every single day. I use mine constantly and it's been rock solid, and that's why this year's refresh is interesting. It's not just a spec refresh, it's potentially a strategic shift. Now, if you've been keeping tabs on the Apple TV refresh cycle, here's some context. Apple doesn't update this thing very often. We're talking roughly once every 3 years, though even then the release cycles are never consistent. The current model came out in 2022 with the A15 Bionic chipset, support for HDR10+, and a tweaked serial mode with Type-C support. It was a simple refresh, but it did come with a lower price and more storage, making it a very compelling buy. I even bought one. But this time Apple's aiming higher and also possibly lower at the same time. Higher in terms of performance and smart home integration, and lower when it comes to price. Min-Chi Kuo, who's usually on the money with these predictions, says Apple wants to make the new TV box more competitive in the streaming box market. That means a potential price decrease, maybe even under $100. And yes, I'll explain how Apple might actually pull that off in just a moment. On top of that, we have concrete hardware details. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman and new reports from Mac Rumors are pointing towards two major Apple Silicon upgrades. First, Apple's new N1 chipset, the same custom wireless chipset that debuted inside the iPhone 17, and this chip combines Wi-Fi and Bluetooth in one package and supports Wi-Fi 7, a huge leap over the current Wi-Fi 6 support. Wi-Fi 7 allows data transmission over the 2.4 GHz, 5 GHz and 6 GHz bands simultaneously, delivering up to 4 times the theoretical speeds of Wi-Fi 6 and significantly lower latency. Of course, real-world speeds will depend on your broadband, but for streaming 4K HDR content or managing a heavy smart home setup, this is as future-proof as it gets. The N1 also supports Bluetooth 6, which promises lower latency and more stable connections compared to Bluetooth 5. That means smoother pairing with AirPods, game controllers, and smart accessories. If you've ever had your Apple TV drop a controller connection mid-game, this is a kinda quiet upgrade you're gonna appreciate. Now, if you're enjoying this Apple deep dive and want to stay ahead of the curve with all things Apple, make sure you subscribe and don't forget to hit that new hype button as well. It really helps a small channel like mine keep going, and it keeps you in the loop for every Apple update. Then there's the big performance upgrade. The new Apple TV is going to get the A17 Pro chipset, the same powerhouse found in the iPhone 15 Pro, 15 Pro Max, and the new iPad mini 7. That is a serious jump over the A15 Bionic in the current model. Built on a 3nm process, the A17 Pro delivers blazing performance and a 6-core GPU, capable of console-level gaming with hardware-accelerated ray tracing. In fact, with the A17 Pro, the new Apple TV is also rumored to include 8GB of RAM, up from 4GB on the current model. That would possibly enable Apple Intelligent support on tvOS, including next year's revamped Siri with on-device AI smarts. Imagine asking Siri for a personalized recommendation recommendation or using real-time captions with near instant processing, all that relying on the clouds. This chipset's also going to offer gaming benefits. Imagine that kind of horsepower in your Apple TV, no fan noise, proper controller support, and games that look like they belong on a PS5 or Xbox Series S, all running on the biggest screen in your house. Now I know what you're thinking, who actually plays games on the Apple TV? And that's a fair point. Gaming hasn't exactly been the Apple TV's killer use case in the past, but Apple's been pushing gaming harder across all its platforms lately, and having a powerful chip in the box opens the box for more possibilities, even if only a small slice of users actually take advantage of it. So picture this, a sub $100 Apple TV that's not only faster, but potentially smart enough to handle Apple's next wave of AI features, and can also play more power-hungry games for the 1% of Apple TV users who actually game. That's a pretty compelling package. Speaking of AI and communication, there's another intriguing rumor. Gurman's reported that Apple's discussed offering an Apple TV with a built-in FaceTime camera for video calls and even gesture controls. tvOS 17 already introduced a FaceTime app that uses your iPhone or iPad camera, but a built-in camera would eliminate the need for an extra device. Gurman hasn't confirmed whether this will come to this particular update, but it lines up nicely with the new tvOS 26 updates, which enhance FaceTime with features like contact posters on the TV, expanded live captions in more languages, and on-screen call notifications. Even if the camera doesn't arrive this year, Apple's clearly preparing the software groundwork. Design-wise, don't expect any radical changes. Early reports suggest the 2025 Apple TV will look basically identical to the current 2022 model, the same compact matte black box with that understated, hide it behind the TV and forget it's there vibe. Honestly, that's pure Apple logic. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They've already slimmed it down with the previous generation, and a TV box isn't exactly a showpiece item in most living rooms, so it doesn't need a redesign. Let's come back to pricing though, because this really could be the game changer. Quo continues to predict a sub $100 price for the base model. Historically, Apple has sold Apple TVs for as low as $69. Nice! The 2012 model was offered for that price, so there's precedent. The current entry-level 64GB Apple TV 4K starts $129, so we're talking about a meaningful price cut. Competing devices like Amazon's Fire TV and Roku sticks continually drop below $50 on sale, so this move could finally put Apple on a level playing field in the mainstream streaming market. Of course, the real question is whether they'll be able to give us all these upgrades, A17 Pro, N1 wireless, Wi-Fi 7, and still hit that sub $100 target. Apple could decide to either sacrifice margins in exchange for market share, or the fact they're using the A17 Pro, which right now is a tier-0 chipset, could help them save money. And to be honest, the M1 chip, while being new, is being produced on a mass scale for the iPhones, and so distributing that to the Apple TV also wouldn't be too expensive. Either way, the fact that Apple's discontinuing the current A15 model as soon as this new model launches suggests Apple's confident the new box will be compelling enough to be standalone. And ultimately, I'm always happy to see Apple devices get cheaper. There were rumors, by the way, that Apple was floating around the idea of an Apple TV stick, but they decided not to release it because it would cheapen their brand, which is surprising considering Apple's now releasing a cheaper box. And to be honest, Apple sells cheap products, so I was a bit confused by that report, but regardless, it's good news the new Apple TV is getting cheaper. And previously I had theorized that Apple might keep around the A15 model as a cheap option, maybe at $89, while offering the A17 Pro version at $129, but a new report from Mac Rumors specifically mentions the old model is going to get discontinued, so it's the new Apple TV that's going to be sub $100. Beyond the hardware, the bigger picture here is Apple's living room strategy. We keep hearing about a future hybrid device that combines an Apple TV, a HomePod speaker, and a FaceTime camera, essentially one product to handle streaming, music, video calls, and smart home control. There's also chatter about a smart display that blends HomePod and iPad features. Whether or not these products arrive this year, the 2025 Apple TV feels like a key step towards that all-in-one vision. So to sum up, the 2025 Apple TV 4K isn't getting a flashy redesign, but it could deliver major upgrades where it counts: performance, networking, and price. If Apple really delivers the A17 Pro chipset, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Apple Intelligence support for under $100, this won't just be another quiet refresh people gloss over. It could be the year the Apple TV becomes the heart of your smart home. Let me know in the comments, are you upgrading this year or holding off for that mythical all-in-one device? Personally, I'll take a cheaper, faster box right now and worry about the future gadgets later. And if you found this breakdown helpful, hit that subscribe button and also the hype button. We've got more deep dives on the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.